The scent of vanilla and cinnamon had always been home to me, but today it felt like a noose around my neck. I stood in the kitchen of Hunter's Sweet Traditions, the bakery my mother had built from nothing, watching her hands shake as she held up my phone. "What is this, Caitlin?" Her voice cracked. "An online cookbook? Video tutorials? You're stealing my recipes, our customers." "I'm Caitlin, and until 10 minutes ago, I thought I was living my dream, helping modernize our family bakery while honoring its traditions. Now, I was watching 32 years of mother-daughter bond crumble like day-old cookies. Mom, I'm trying to help us grow. People want to learn baking online now. Help?" She slammed my phone down on the steel prep table. "Is that why Mrs. Peterson canceled her weekly order? Because she's now following your tips and tricks on Instagram?" The mixer whirred in the background, its familiar hum now feeling like a mockery of normalcy. Ellie, my best friend and our front counter manager, peeked through the kitchen door, her eyes wide with concern. "That's not fair," I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. "Mrs. Peterson moved to Florida. She specifically asked for ways to make our recipes because she misses them so much." Mom's face reddened. "And you gave them to her? Just like that? These recipes took generations to perfect." "I didn't give away your secret ingredients. I'm teaching basic techniques, helping people appreciate what we do. It's marketing, Mom. Free advertising." "It's betrayal," she spat. "I trusted you with everything in this kitchen. Everything. And you turn around and put it all online for anyone to see?" The timer buzzed. The morning sourdough needed to come out. I moved toward the oven, but Mom blocked my path. "Don't touch them, don't touch anything." Her voice was ice. "You've done enough damage." Ellie stepped fully into the kitchen now. "Tessa, maybe we should all take a breath." "Stay out of this, Ellie," Mom snapped, but then immediately softened her tone. "Please, this is between me and my daughter." I felt tears burning behind my eyes. "Mom, please listen. The world is changing. We need to change with it. I've gotten thousands of followers who want to learn from us. They're asking about classes, about..." "Classes?" She laughed bitterly. "So now you're not just giving away our recipes, you're planning to teach them too, taking even more business away from us?" "From us? I am us. Everything I do is for this bakery." "Not anymore." She grabbed an apron from the hook, my apron, the one with Junior Baker embroidered on it, a gift from my 10th birthday, and thrust it at me. "You clearly want to be your own boss. Go ahead, but not here. Not with my recipes, not with my techniques, not with my customers." The apron felt heavy in my hands. Through the fabric, I could feel decades of flour dust, of early mornings learning at her side, of proud smiles when I mastered a new technique. "You don't mean that." "I do." She turned away, pulling a tray of perfectly golden sourdough from the oven. Her hands didn't shake anymore. "You're fired, Caitlin. Clean out your locker and don't come back." Ellie gasped. "Tessa, you can't." "I can and I have." Mom's voice was final. My daughter made her choice. I stood there, clutching my childhood apron, watching the woman who taught me everything I know about baking act like I was a stranger, a thief. My phone buzzed on the prep table, probably another comment on my latest tutorial video. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Fine," I whispered, then found my voice. "Fine. You want to stay stuck in the past? Go ahead. But don't blame me when the world moves on without you." I grabbed my phone, shrugged off my current apron, and headed for the staff room. Ellie followed, her footsteps quick behind me. "Caitlin, wait." "Don't." I yanked open my locker, stuffing personal items into my bag. "Just don't." "What are you going to do?" I paused, holding a framed photo of Mom and me at the bakery's 20th anniversary celebration. We were both covered in flour, laughing at some forgotten joke. "What she accused me of, I guess. Build something of my own." "But she thinks I stole from her?" I shoved the photo into my bag. "Watch me create something she can't touch, something bigger than this little bakery could ever be." As I walked out the back door, the smell of fresh sourdough followed me. Mom's signature recipe, the one she'd spent years perfecting, the one she'd taught me through countless failed attempts and proud successes, the one I'd never share online, no matter how many followers asked. I got into my car, hands shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. Through the window, I could see Mom through the kitchen window, her back straight as she worked, pretending not to watch me leave. My phone buzzed again. Another notification. Another eager home baker waiting to learn. Fine. They wanted to learn? I'd teach them. But first, I had to figure out who I was without the warmth of vanilla and cinnamon guiding me home. You're not just making videos anymore, you're building an empire, Ellie said, scrolling through my analytics. We sat in my tiny apartment-turned-studio, surrounded by ring lights and baking equipment. 3 weeks had passed since Mom kicked me out, and I hadn't wasted a single day. Look at these numbers, Ellie pointed at my screen. Your sourdough alternative video hit 500,000 views. People are obsessed with your twist on the technique. I smiled, mixing a bowl of lavender shortbread dough. The camera was already rolling. My followers loved seeing the process from start to finish. Turns out there's a huge market for people who want to bake but are intimidated by traditional methods. And you're giving them confidence without giving away your mom's secrets. It's brilliant. The mention of Mom still stung, but I kept my hands steady. My viewers had started noticing how I never trembled while working with dough. The trick is to show them the way without holding their hands, I said, both to Ellie and the camera. Baking is about feeling confident enough to make mistakes. My phone chimed with another notification. Ellie grabbed it before I could wipe my hands clean. Oh my God, she gasped. Caitlin Channel 7 just DM'd you. They want to feature you on their morning show. The dough squished between my fingers as I froze. What? Dear Ms. Hunter, Ellie read, your innovative approach to teaching traditional baking techniques has caught our attention. Would you be interested in doing a live demonstration segment? She looked up, beaming. This is huge. I carefully set the dough aside and wiped my hands. Mom watches Channel 7 every morning. Exactly. Ellie thrust the phone at me. Show her what she lost. Show everyone what you've built on your own. My brother Roman's words from last week echoed in my head. Mom's hurting too, you know. Pride's a hard thing to swallow. But then I remembered her face when she called me a thief, and my resolve hardened. Hand me my phone, I said. I'm saying yes. The next week flew by in a blur of preparation. Bo, a marketing consultant I'd met through Ellie, helped me polish my presentation. Remember, he said during our final practice run, you're not just teaching them to bake. You're selling a story, your story. I piped a perfect rosette onto a cupcake, just as I'd done thousands of times at the bakery. What if they ask about Mom's bakery? Then you tell the truth. You're grateful for your traditional training, but you saw an opportunity to make baking accessible to a new generation. He adjusted the angle of my mixing bowl. No need to air dirty laundry. Success is the best revenge. The morning of the show arrived crisp and clear. In the studio, under the bright lights, I fought to keep my nerves in check as the makeup artist touched up my powder. 3 minutes, called a producer. The host, Sarah, leaned in during the commercial break. So, I hear you come from a baking family? I do, I said carefully, but today I'm excited to share my own twist on classic techniques. Perfect, she smiled. That's exactly what our viewers want to see. The red light blinked on, and suddenly we were live. I fell into my element, showing Sarah and the viewers how to make foolproof croissants using my simplified method. The secret, I explained, folding the dough with practiced ease, is not being afraid of the process. Traditional baking can seem intimidating, but with the right approach, anyone can create something beautiful. And that's why your online tutorials have gone viral, Sarah asked, genuinely interested in the perfectly laminated dough-taking shape. Exactly. Baking shouldn't be gate-kept. It's about creating joy, sharing love through food. That's why I break everything down into manageable steps. As I pulled out a pre-made batch from under the counter, Sarah gasped at the perfect layers. These are gorgeous. And viewers can find all your tutorials online? Yes. I post new videos 3 times a week, and I'm actually launching live virtual classes next month. The segment ended with Sarah practically inhaling a croissant, declaring it the best she'd ever tasted. As soon as we were off air, my phone exploded with notifications. Ellie was waiting in the green room, practically bouncing. You killed it! Your follower count is skyrocketing. But one message caught my eye, from Roman. Mom watched. She didn't say anything, but she watched the whole thing. A complicated mix of satisfaction and sadness twisted in my stomach. I thought about Mom, sitting in her kitchen, watching me share my passion with the world. Was she proud? Angry? Did she recognize the lamination technique she'd taught me when I was 16? Earth to Caitlin. Ellie waved her hand in front of my face. The producer wants to talk about making this a regular segment. Are you listening? I straightened my spine, pushing thoughts of Mom aside. Yes, I'm listening. Good, because this is just the beginning. You're not just the girl from her mother's bakery anymore. You're becoming the face of modern baking. She was right. I'd found my own path, my own voice. But as I followed Ellie to meet the producer, I couldn't help wondering if the taste of success would always carry this bittersweet flavor. The parking lot's half empty again, Roman said, stirring his coffee. We sat in a cafe across from Mom's bakery, where I could see the morning rush, or lack thereof, through the window. She's too proud to admit it, but she's struggling. I wrapped my hands around my own mug, fighting the urge to march across the street and take over the morning bread prep. It's not my fault people want convenience, Roman. The world's changing. I know that. But did you see the comments on your last video? People are actually posting photos of Mom's empty display cases, saying they don't need to visit anymore because they can make everything at home now. The guilt I'd been suppressing bubbled up. I never meant for that to happen. Didn't you, though? He leaned forward. Because your revenge is working perfectly. Before I could respond, my phone lit up with Bo's caller ID. Sorry, I have to take this. Caitlin! Bo's voice crackled with excitement. How fast can you get to my office? The International Culinary Institute wants to partner with us. They're talking global distribution, exclusive content deals. This is huge. My heart raced. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Roman watched me gather my things, his expression unreadable. Another big opportunity? Maybe. I hesitated. How bad is it really, Roman? With Mom? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. She had to let go of 2 part-time staff last week, and yesterday, I caught her crying over old photos of you two in the office. The guilt twisted deeper. I have to go. Of course you do. At Bo's office, the opportunity was even bigger than he'd hinted. The Institute wanted me to create an exclusive series of master classes, teaching my modern take on traditional techniques to culinary students worldwide. They love your approach, Bo said, spreading contracts across his desk. Your way of demystifying complex techniques without compromising quality. Plus, your numbers are insane. You're reaching people traditional culinary education never could. I skimmed the documents, my eyes catching on the proposed compensation. That's a lot of zeros. And that's just the beginning. Once we launch the series, my phone buzzed. A text from Ellie. 911, your mom's place. Come now. I have to go, I said, standing abruptly. Family emergency. I rushed across town, my mind spinning with worst-case scenarios. When I pulled up to the bakery, I saw Ellie outside, talking to Viviana, one of Mom's oldest customers. What happened? I demanded, jumping out of my car. Viviana turned, her face softening. Oh, Caitlin, your mother, she fell apart during the morning rush. Started yelling at customers who were watching your videos while waiting in line. It was uncomfortable. My stomach dropped. Where is she now? Back office, Ellie said. Roman's with her. I moved toward the entrance, but Viviana caught my arm. Honey, I've known your mother for 20 years. She's not just losing her business, she's losing her identity. Inside, the bakery felt wrong. Display cases half empty, tables unwiped, a single teenage employee looking overwhelmed at the counter. The smell of burnt pastries hung in the air, something that would have been unthinkable 2 months ago. I found Mom and Roman in the office. She sat at her desk, staring at the computer screen showing my latest video. My voice filled the small space. And remember, baking isn't about perfection. It's about making something with love. Turn it off, I said quietly. Mom jumped, quickly wiping her eyes. What are you doing here? Ellie called me. Of course she did. Mom's laugh was hollow. Came to see your handiwork in person. Mom, do you know what it's like? She gestured at the screen. Watching your own daughter become everything you wanted to be. Watching her take everything you built and make it better. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? You think I don't see it? How you've improved every recipe? How you've made everything more accessible, more appealing? She shook her head. I was so angry about you sharing our secrets that I didn't see you weren't sharing them at all. You were creating something new. Roman touched my shoulder. I'll give you 2 a minute. Once he left, Mom continued, her voice barely a whisper. I got an email this morning. The bank, they're reviewing our loan. If things don't improve by the end of the month. The International Culinary Institute contract flashed through my mind. Success is the best revenge, Bo had said. But watching my mother, my hero, my teacher, crumble before me, revenge suddenly tasted like ash. Let me help, I said. No. She straightened, pride winning over pain. You've built something remarkable, Caitlin. Don't let my failure hold you back. Mom, please. She stood, smoothing her apron. I need to check the ovens. Just go. I walked out of the bakery, past the empty tables and sparse display cases. My phone buzzed. Bo, probably wondering about the contracts. But all I could think about was the burnt smell in the air, and how wrong it felt in a place that had always smelled like home. You're distracted, Bo said, watching me fumble a piping bag during our latest video shoot. That's the third take you've messed up. I set down the bag, flexing my fingers. Sorry, let's go again. No. He turned off the camera. Let's talk about what's really going on. Is this about the Institute contract? Because they're getting antsy waiting for your signature. The contract sat in my bag, unsigned, growing heavier with each passing day. It's not that simple. Actually, it is. Bo pulled up my latest analytics on his tablet. Look at these numbers. Your last live class had participants from 12 countries. You're going viral in Japan. Food Network is sniffing around. I know, but what? Your mother? He sighed. Caitlin, you can't let guilt hold you back. This is business. My phone chimed with a notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. It was a photo of Mom's bakery, the caption reading, "Empty again. At least we have Caitlin Bakes tutorials to keep us happy. Who needs the original?" I closed the app, feeling sick. Can we take 5? Take 15, clear your head. Then we need to nail this champagne cream tutorial. I escaped to the bathroom, splashing water on my face. My reflection looked tired, uncertain. Nothing like the confident digital baker who'd amassed millions of views. Another notification popped up. Roman had sent a video. It showed Mom in her kitchen, teaching a young girl how to shape dinner rolls. See? Mom's voice was gentle, patient. The dough tells you when it's ready. Feel how it pushes back against your fingers? The timestamp showed it was from years ago. The girl was me. A knock at the door startled me. Caitlin? It was Ellie. You okay in there? I opened the door to find her holding 2 coffee cups. Thought you might need this, she said, handing me one. Thanks. I leaned against the wall. Did you see Roman's video? Yeah, remember when she used to do those weekend classes for kids? I nodded. Mom had loved teaching, sharing her knowledge with anyone eager to learn, just like I was doing now, but through a screen instead of face-to-face. Bo's right, you know, Ellie said softly. You can't put your life on hold because of her. I'm not. I pulled out my phone, opening an anonymous account I'd created. Look at this. The screen showed messages from Mom's remaining loyal customers. Viviana had posted yesterday. Nothing beats watching Tessa work her magic in person. These online tutorials are nice, but they're missing the heart. See? I said. They're right. Something's missing. Yeah, the ability to pay their bills. Ellie's voice was gentle but firm. Online tutorials are the future, Caitlin. You're proof of that. Back in the studio, Bo had reset the cameras. Ready to try again? I picked up the piping bag, but instead of starting the tutorial, I turned to face the main camera. Hey everyone, today we're going to do something different. I want to talk about where my love for baking really began. Bo raised an eyebrow but didn't stop me. You see this technique? I demonstrated the signature swirl Mom had taught me. I learned this from the best baker I know. She taught me that baking isn't just about following recipes. It's about passing down love through generations. The words flowed naturally as I worked, sharing not just techniques but memories. Stories of early morning lessons, of failures turned into learning opportunities, of the magic that happened in a small family bakery. When I finished, Bo was grinning. That was unexpected, but authentic, raw. The viewers will eat it up. Don't post it, I said. What? But this is gold. No, I grabbed my laptop, pulling up the Institute contract. We need to rework this first. I have an idea. Hours later, I sat in my apartment, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Just watched your live class. Your mother taught you well. but I miss watching her work in person. Viviana. I stared at the message for a long time, then opened my calendar. Mom's bakery had always closed on Mondays for deep cleaning. Perfect time for filming. Hey, Bo, I typed. Remember how you said success is the best revenge? What if we tried a different approach? His reply came quickly. I'm listening. I looked at the revised contract on my screen, the one that now included provisions for a very specific kind of content collaboration. Mom had taught me everything I knew about baking. Maybe it was time to teach her what I knew about reaching a new generation. But first, I had to convince her to let me back into her kitchen. And that would take more than just a perfect piping technique. She's planning something special for the bakery's 30th anniversary next week, Roman said, pacing my kitchen while I tested recipes. Some kind of customer appreciation event. But honestly, I think it's more like a last hurrah. I paused mid-need. What do you mean? The bank gave her 30 days to show improvement. The anniversary falls right in the middle of that deadline. He picked up a discarded recipe card. Mom's handwriting faded but still legible. She's going all out. Special orders, limited edition items, the works. And you're telling me this because she's using your grandmother's original recipes, the ones she never let anyone else touch. He set the card down carefully. She's desperate, Caitlin. My hands stilled in the dough. Grandmother's recipes were Mom's most precious possession. She'd never even written them down, keeping them only in her memory. Using them now was like selling family heirlooms to pay rent. When is it exactly? I asked, trying to sound casual. Next Saturday. She's calling it a taste of tradition. He gave me a pointed look. Lots of longtime customers are coming, including Viviana. My phone buzzed. Bo calling about tomorrow's shoot. I ignored it. Does she know you're telling me this? No, but I'm tired of watching you both suffer. He headed for the door, then paused. She still has your old apron hanging in the office, you know. Never took it down. After he left, I called Ellie. I need your help with something crazy. Aren't you supposed to be filming with Bo tomorrow? This is more important. How good are you at keeping secrets? The next week passed in a blur of secret preparations. I canceled 2 live sessions, citing technical difficulties, and spent hours practicing recipes I hadn't touched in years. Bo wasn't happy about the schedule changes, but when I explained my plan, he got on board immediately. This could be huge content, he said, if you play it right. That's not why I'm doing it. I know, that's exactly why it'll work. The morning of the anniversary event, I parked around the corner from the bakery at 5 a.m., watching through the pre-dawn darkness as Mom unlocked the front door. She looked tired, even from a distance, but her movements were purposeful as she began her opening routine. Ready? Ellie whispered from the passenger seat. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. No, but let's do it anyway. We waited until Mom disappeared into the back before slipping in through the delivery entrance. The kitchen was exactly as I remembered, every tool in its place, every surface spotless. The familiar hum of the proofer filled the air. She's in the office, Ellie reported after a quick reconnaissance. Going over paperwork. I pulled out my phone and a small tripod. Okay, you know what to do. Ellie nodded and headed to the front, where she'd create a distraction when needed. I set up my equipment quickly, muscle memory guiding my hands as I gathered ingredients. The first batch of grandmother's special cardamom buns was already in the oven when I heard Mom's footsteps approaching. I straightened up, heart pounding, as she rounded the corner. She stopped dead in her tracks. What are you doing here? Making Grandma's cardamom buns, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You always said they were the heart of this bakery. You have no right. I have every right. I gestured to the phone recording quietly on its tripod. And so do your customers. They miss you, Mom, not just your baking. You. She stared at the setup, understanding dawning. Is this some kind of publicity stunt? No, it's an olive branch. I pulled up the institute contract on my tablet. They want to feature traditional bakers teaching alongside modern ones, showing how old and new can work together. I told them I knew the perfect person. The timer dinged. Without thinking, we both moved toward the oven, a dance we'd performed thousands of times before. Mom reached it first, pulling out a tray of perfectly golden buns. They look just like hers, she whispered. Because you taught me right. I stepped closer. Mom, your customers don't come here just for baked goods. They come for the experience, the knowledge, the love you put into everything. Let me help you share that with a bigger audience. She set down the tray, the scent of cardamom and butter filling the kitchen. I don't understand all this online stuff. That's okay. That's what you have me for. I picked up a bun, breaking it open to reveal the perfect swirl inside. Remember how Grandma used to say tradition keeps us rooted, but innovation helps us grow? Mom touched the cooling rack, her fingers tracing patterns in the flour dust. The anniversary event starts in 3 hours. I know, and your loyal customers will be here, ready to celebrate 30 years of tradition. I held out the bun. But maybe it's also time to celebrate the future? She took the bun, studied it for a long moment, then looked at the still recording phone. These were always better with coffee, she said finally. Should we make some while we wait for the next batch? It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either, and sometimes that's where the best recipes begin. The anniversary celebration was in full swing when I slipped in through the back door. The bakery buzzed with conversation and laughter, longtime customers mingling with plates of Mom's special creations. From my hiding spot in the storage room, I could see Mom working the crowd, her smile genuine but tired. Everything's ready, Ellie whispered, joining me with her laptop. The live stream setup is complete and Bo's got the main camera rolling out front. I checked my phone. Over 2,000 viewers already waiting in the virtual lobby. How's she doing? Nervous, but she hasn't backed out yet. Through the crack in the door, I watched Viviana approach Mom with a plate of cardamom buns. These taste just like they used to, Tessa, like your mother used to make. Mom's eyes flickered toward the kitchen. Actually, I had some help with those this morning. Really? Viviana looked surprised. Who? The lights dimmed slightly. Our signal. I took a deep breath and nodded to Ellie, who pressed a button on her laptop. The bakery's newly installed screens flickered to life, showing a montage of photos. Mom teaching me to bake, both of us covered in flour, laughing through failures and successes. The crowd fell silent as my voice filled the room. 30 years ago, a woman named Tessa opened this bakery with nothing but determination and her mother's recipes. Mom froze watching the screens. I continued narrating as more photos appeared. The bakery's early days, regular customers who'd become family, children growing up eating Mom's creations. But traditions aren't meant to stay frozen in time, my voice continued. They're meant to grow, to evolve, to reach new people in new ways. The montage ended with a split screen. Mom teaching me to bake years ago, next to me teaching thousands online today. The bakery remained quiet, all eyes on Mom. I stepped out of the storage room, microphone in hand. Which is why today isn't just about celebrating the past 30 years. It's about building the next 30. Mom turned, her eyes wide. Caitlin, ladies and gentlemen, I addressed both the physical crowd and the growing online audience. Welcome to the first ever live broadcast from Hunter's Sweet Traditions. Ellie hit another button, and the screen switched to live feed. Mom's image appeared alongside a counter showing the viewer count, now over 5,000. Mom, I said, walking toward her, these people aren't just here for the baking. They're here for you, for your stories, your knowledge, your love of tradition. Viviana stepped forward. She's right, Tessa. We can get baked goods anywhere. We come here because of you. I held out a spare microphone. So, what do you say? Ready to share your magic with a bigger family? Mom looked at the microphone, then at the screens showing comments flooding in from around the world. Her hands trembled slightly as she took it. I'm not sure what to say. How about starting with Grandma's cardamom buns, I suggested. Show them how it's really done. A spark of the old confidence flickered in her eyes. Well, first you need to understand about the cardamom. For the next hour, Mom was in her element. She moved through the kitchen with grace, sharing stories and secrets, answering questions from both physical and virtual audiences. The viewer count kept climbing as she demonstrated the proper way to grind cardamom, the exact moment to add butter to the dough. See how it feels? She said, letting Viviana touch the dough. That's what Caitlin means in her videos about the dough talking to you. My mother taught me this, and I taught Caitlin. And now you're teaching all of us. Viviana finished, smiling at the camera. Between demonstrations, I unveiled the digital platform I'd been building secretly, a dedicated space for Mom's traditional techniques, integrated with modern teaching tools. The bakery's website now featured online ordering, virtual class bookings, and a blog for sharing the stories behind each recipe. This isn't about replacing what you've built, I explained to Mom off camera during a break. It's about extending its reach. She touched the screen showing hundreds of positive comments. All these people, they really want to learn? They want to learn from you, the real you, not some polished internet version. The event wound down as sunset approached. The last customers left with boxes of treats and promises to join the upcoming virtual classes. Mom stood in her kitchen looking both exhausted and energized. The viewer count topped 10,000, Ellie reported, packing up equipment, and the class registration is already half full. Mom picked up one of the few remaining cardamom buns. Your grandmother would have loved this, you know. She always said baking was about bringing people together. Is that a yes? I asked carefully. To the collaboration? She broke the bun in half, offering me a piece. On one condition. What's that? You let me keep some secrets. She smiled. Every family needs its mysteries, after all. I took the offered bun, tasting childhood and future possibilities in every bite. Deal. Outside, the bakery's new digital sign glowed softly. Hunter's Sweet Traditions, where old world meets new. Below it, customers were already gathering for tomorrow's breakfast service, phones ready to share the experience with followers around the world. Read this one, Mom, I said, holding up my phone during our morning prep session. Watching Tessa and Caitlin work together is better than therapy. The way they blend traditional wisdom with modern techniques gives me hope for my own mother-daughter relationship. Mom smiled, dusting flour off her apron. These comments still surprise me. Yesterday, someone wrote that they cry during our videos. That's because you're real. I adjusted the camera angle for our upcoming live session. People can tell this isn't just for show. The bakery's kitchen had evolved over the past month. Ring lights and cameras now shared space with mixing bowls and proving baskets. A dedicated streaming corner featured our most popular creations, while the traditional counter remained unchanged for walk-in customers. 5 minutes until we're live, Ellie called from her new tech station. Today's registration is our highest yet. Mom nervously smoothed her hair. What if I mess up? Then thousands of people will see that even master bakers make mistakes. That's what they love about us, remember? The bell above the door chimed, and Viviana walked in carrying a newspaper. Have you seen this? She asked, spreading it on the prep table. There we were on the local paper's front page. Sweet success, how a family feud turned into digital gold. The photo showed Mom and me laughing during last week's live session, covered in chocolate after a ganache mishap. They got it wrong, Mom said softly, touching the headline. This isn't about digital gold. It's about family, I finished. Speaking of which, the door chimed again as Roman entered, followed by Beau. The bank called, Roman announced, grinning. They're not just extending the loan, they want to feature the bakery in their small business success campaign. Mom's eyes welled up. Really? Really, Beau confirmed. Your numbers are incredible. Online sales up 300%, in-store traffic doubled, class registrations sold out through next quarter. 1 minute, Ellie called. I grabbed Mom's hand. Ready to show them how to make Grandma's famous apple strudel? She squeezed back. As long as you don't reveal my secret folding technique. Never. That one goes to the grave. The red light blinked on, and we began our dance, the one we'd perfected over decades of working side by side. As we demonstrated the art of paper-thin pastry, comments poured in from around the world. Look at how they move together. Mother-daughter goals. Can't believe they almost lost this magic. Between steps, Mom shared stories about learning the recipe from her mother, while I explained how we'd adapted it for modern home kitchens. When she demonstrated the secret fold, the camera conveniently blurred, our little inside joke with viewers. Remember, Mom told the audience, baking isn't about perfection, it's about love. Our viewers typed in unison, completing her now famous catchphrase. After the session, as Ellie processed orders and Roman helped clean up, Mom pulled me aside. I have something to show you. In her office, she opened her old recipe box, the one she'd accused me of stealing from months ago. Inside lay a stack of papers I'd never seen. What are these? My notes, she said, shuffling through them. Every time you improved one of my recipes, every suggestion you made over the years, I wrote them all down. I stared at the papers, covered in her familiar handwriting. But you said... I know what I said. She wiped her eyes. I was scared, Caitlin. scared of becoming obsolete, of losing what my mother gave me. I didn't realize that by fighting change, I was dishonoring her legacy more than any adaptation ever could. Mom, let me finish. She pressed the notes into my hands. You didn't steal anything. You built on it, made it better. Just like I did with my mother's recipes, and she did with hers. Through the office window, we could see Ellie setting up for tomorrow's shoot, while Roman entertained waiting customers with behind-the-scenes stories. The digital sign outside alternated between daily specials and upcoming class schedules. The bank manager said something interesting. Mom continued. He said we're not just selling baked goods anymore. We're selling hope, showing people that tradition and progress can coexist. I leafed through her notes, finding variations on recipes I thought I'd created alone. All this time she'd been paying attention, learning alongside me. So, she said, straightening her apron, ready to really collaborate? No more secrets, no more fear? What about your secret folding technique? She laughed. Well, maybe one secret, for the next generation to discover. Outside, customers were already lining up for tomorrow's breakfast service, phones ready to share their experience with followers who'd never set foot in our small town. But now, instead of seeing them as threats to tradition, Mom watched them with pride. Each photo, each post, each shared moment, adding new chapters to our family's story. Come on, she said, heading back to the kitchen. Let's show them what happens when old and new work together. And this time, when we stepped in front of the camera, we weren't just mother and daughter, teacher and student, traditional and modern. We were something better. We were partners. And that's how you know the sourdough is ready, Mom explained to the camera while I prepared the next demonstration. It's a living thing. You have to listen to it, respect it. The morning sun streamed through the bakery windows, catching the silver in Mom's hair as she worked. Our daily live stream had become a comfortable routine, but today felt different, special. Speaking of living things, I said, sliding a tray of finished loaves into view. Should we tell them our news? Mom's eyes sparkled. Why don't you do the honors? I turned to face our viewers, their comments already flooding in with curiosity. Remember how we promised to keep innovating while honoring tradition? Well, we're opening our first baking academy. The comment section exploded. Mom continued kneading as I explained. The building next door is becoming our teaching kitchen. Physical classes for local students, streaming for our online family. And yes, Mom will be head instructor. With my very capable daughter handling the technical side, she added, giving me a flour-dusted nudge. Viviana, watching from her usual spot at the counter, raised her coffee cup. About time. I've been saying for years that Tessa should teach professionally. Actually, Mom said, we have one more announcement. Caitlin, show them. I reached under the counter and pulled out a leather-bound book. This is my grandmother's original recipe journal. Mom and I have spent months testing, adapting, and documenting every recipe for modern kitchens. But with all the traditional techniques preserved, Mom added quickly, making everyone laugh. The book comes out next month, I continued, with both digital and print versions. And the bell chimed as Roman burst in, waving his phone. Have you seen it? We're trending. Ellie spun her laptop around, showing us the viral post, a side-by-side video of Mom teaching me to bake as a child, matched with us teaching together now. The caption read, how it started versus how it's going. This is what healing looks like. Read the comments, Roman insisted. But before we could, a familiar voice spoke from the doorway. I think I'd rather hear the story in person. We turned to find Bo with a Food Network executive, both holding coffee cups from our new cafe section. Hope you don't mind us dropping in, Bo said, grinning. Someone was very interested in your academy plans. Mom's hands stilled in the dough. We're not interested in turning this into a reality show. Good, the executive replied, because that's not what we're proposing. We're looking for authentic content about food, family, and bridging generations. Your live streams already do that perfectly. We just want to help you reach more people. I watched Mom's face, seeing her work through the possibilities. Finally, she said, on one condition. Name it. We keep filming here, in our kitchen. No studios, no scripts, just real baking, real teaching, real family. That's exactly what we want. The executive smiled, though we might need to add a few more cameras. As they discussed details, I felt a tug on my apron. A young girl, maybe 10 years old, stood clutching a phone showing our latest tutorial. Are you really going to teach kids like me? She asked. Absolutely, I said, kneeling to her level. Would you like to learn? She nodded eagerly. My grandma used to bake, but she's gone now. I want to make her recipes like she did. Mom overheard and came over, flour still on her hands. What's your favorite thing your grandma made? Cinnamon rolls, but I can't get them right. Well, Mom said, pulling out a spare apron, we have about 15 minutes before our next live stream. Want to learn a few secrets? The girl's eyes lit up as Mom helped her with the apron, the same way she'd done for me countless times. Around us, the bakery hummed with activity. Ellie coordinating online orders, Roman charming customers, Bo and the executive plotting our expansion. But in our corner, time seemed to slow as Mom guided small hands through the motions of working dough. See, she said, it's telling you when it's ready. Can you feel it? The girl nodded, completely absorbed. I picked up my phone and started recording. Not for our followers or the network, but for us. For the moment when tradition wasn't just preserved, but truly passed on. You know, Mom said later, after the girl left clutching her perfectly made cinnamon roll, this is what I was really afraid of losing. Not the recipes or the techniques, but the magic of teaching someone who wants to learn. Now you get to share that magic with the world, I said, starting prep for our afternoon session. Ready? She looked around at our transformed bakery, at the blend of old and new, at the way we'd managed to grow without losing our heart. More than ready. Let's show them how it's done. The cameras rolled as we began our familiar dance, mother and daughter, teachers and students, past and future working in perfect harmony. And somewhere I knew Grandma was smiling at what her little bakery had become. Not just a place where traditions were kept, but where they came alive in new ways, one lesson at a time.